I'm Jack of EVEILL Music, and welcome to our interview with Kid Fiction. How are we?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good.
I'm gonna throw that in the edit.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's good to have you on. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, bro.
All right, seriously, your music is definitely on its own kind of wavelength. I've
Yeah.
listened to a few of things now, and I've really been enjoying it really much though. It's like I don't know where it lives because you've kind of got a bit of electronic, you got a bit of R&B, there's a bit of pop in there, a bit of rap. Like what do you describe your music as?
I think like genre is not a particularly interesting or useful way to sort of understand music or music culture, really. I mean, it's like yeah, it's music doesn't really operate in I mean, you know, some music does, like playlist music does, like that just sits in like the lo-fi music playlist or something like that. But yeah, I mean, as a creator, definitely there's no point like you know, putting things in boxes. Actually, like the most fun thing to do is just like when you start a track is just to let the track tell you where it's going to go. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so that might take you into some weird places. And like a lot of times it doesn't work. Like I make a lot of shit music, you know, because you're like driving blindfolded a little bit, and sometimes you end up in a dead end. But you know, that's the excitement as well. You know, you just never know. Life's like a box of chocolates.
Never know what you're gonna get. apparently a lot of shit sometimes, but you know, you get the good chocolate, you know, get the caramel one or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just different. No, I think it's really interesting, the type of music that you put out. Just listening to a few the last few days, and I have heard his stuff before, but it's just your aesthetic on like how you put yourself out there on your socials and stuff like that, it seems to like really match the sound that you put out too. Like it really captures kind of the moods of sort in your music. Like it's very what would you say, picturesque, kind of open to interpretation type deal. And just like looking through like your Instagram before and stuff like that, I could just see like everything kind of just feels wavy and it's all got like a mood to it. Is that like intentional at all, or is it just, you know, just shit happens?
I'm a bit funny with like the art side of the music that I put out. Like I'm not it's something that it's actually, for me, it's like the least fun part of the process, because it's sort of like, you know, like it's nice to leave things open-ended and to not really have to engage with like, you know, like as a musician now, like any kind of artist or whatever, but you've got to be like you've got to think like a marketing person, you know what I mean? And like I hate that about the music industry and just the way that creativity moves in our culture right now. Like I wish that you know, we could go back to this kind of idea, you know, like when the record labels sort of disappeared from music around 2000 and people threw their hands up in the air like, oh, you know, you can just, you know, we don't need record labels anymore. There's this new independent music renaissance and everyone can just put music out on the internet themselves and they'll get famous themselves and stuff like that. And it's just like, it's actually, and there was this, that was supposed to be like liberating, but I think it's actually the other way around. You know, there's a liberation to like being on a label and having them kind of like, you know, at least you can fight them. Like they can be like the marketing people going, dude, you got to add an extra, you know, pop track on your album, whatever it is that they're having some argument with them about. And that you could, as an artist in that dynamic, try at least attempt to sort of liberate yourself from that marketing side of music. But that doesn't, it's not really possible as an independent artist.
Almost anymore. Like having like bumpers in a bowling alley, you know, kind of keep you in the lane. You can still make a good shot if you didn't have it, but it's just got something to.
Yeah, you don't have to take the weight and the responsibility maybe of like having to like think, oh, is this going to be marketable or something like that? You know, like an artist like Kendrick Lamar, like it's always great like that. You know, he's able to like push the boundaries in a way that a lot of people probably wouldn't feel that they were able to, at least, you know.
Yeah,
because he's
agree.
in a position to be able to do that.
That newest album of his is just like something incredible, honestly. Like, yeah, I can't say I've ever heard a couple of certain tracks on there that was just like, this is something
It's just
different.
and it's like every time you listen to Kendrick Lamar albums like that, like I remember the first time I listened to Pimp a Butterfly, it's like, what the fuck has this guy done? Like, because like, I mean, remember like in 2012 or whatever it was, like Kendrick was this like monolithic figure in hip hop. Like he was kind of
Very
like, he
much
just
so.
dropped like the album of generation, and it was like there were all of those tracks on that album just became like anthemic. And then all of a sudden he's doing this weird like science funk bass, like, you know, Thundercat, and it's in this like 60s acid
teleports
trip,
back
and,
to
like,
time.
I remember you was conflicted and all that weird shit like that he was doing. People like freaked out, you know. But like, I think that's the essence of being an artist, you know. I mean, you really got to like, you know, really take it on yourself to like to push out, you know, to push and try and do something different.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, speaking of Kendrick and like artists like that, do you have many influences from people like that, like Kendrick? Any type of influences for music or even other media at all for your music?
Yeah, I mean, I listen very widely. Like I listen to like a lot of classical music and like a lot of kind of more experimental electronic stuff. I listen to a lot of ambient music just because like I've listened to it while I'm working or something like that, you know.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like sort of finding my way through to like hip hop and other genres, you know, dance music. Like I love like 90s Chicago house. Like I've got like so much house music that I've been making over the years. It's like sitting on my hard drive. I've got like no idea what to do with it.
Love to hear it all.
Heaps of like dubstep shit. I've been like unearthing like heaps of dubstep stuff recently and just like getting super into that. Kind of like, you know, like baseline dance hall and shit. Like there's a few artists like Stereotype, and there's like some crazy like sci-fi dance hall, like crazy bass lines and shit, but it's like, you know, rootsy as well. I don't know. So look, I listen widely, and I think that you try and absorb as much as you can, and then when you write, you just kind of put all that stuff out to the side, and you know, just let the creativity try and take you there. But it's also like, you know, I've got like so much music that's on my hard drive that's just like taking up space, you know, like so much weird stuff. So I don't know. I've got like you know, 750 side projects on the go at the same time.
I want that house project out, man. I want that house project. That sounds neat.
Yeah.
No, I don't even know where to go from there. I'm just more interested in the house project now. But no. So you debuted in 2018, starting in the Sydney scene and stuff, and made your way over to Ministry of Sound, play an opening set over there in Berlin. Yeah. Like what an amazing experience that must have been.
Yeah, it was great, man. I had the opportunity to like play a whole bunch of gigs in Eastern Europe as well, like in Lithuania and Latvia, and Germany, London, Switzerland. Which was just incredible actually. And like I was really keen to do it again, and then we all got like locked down and the world just went down. Yeah.
Classic.
And it shut down. So I mean, I was even chatting to a dude about like, he was like, I've got good connects in Belarus. You should go and play a gig in Belarus. I was like, I don't know, can I go play a gig in Belarus? It's like, it's so good, like to be able to do that, you know, like with music and stuff. I mean, I think a lot of Australians, you know, because we live so far away from everyone else, from everywhere else, you know, it's like, it's difficult. We think it's really hard to go traveling and stuff. And I guess if you're in a band with like, you know, 6 people, it's kind of more difficult. Absolutely. But it's actually kind of easy to get over there and play some gigs, you know, like there's so much going on in the rest of the world. Yeah.
Well, going back to like the Sydney, kind of the Sydney rap scene and music scene, and kind of being in the game now for a little while, have you seen any changes like with Sydney in the music scene and like coming through in Australia and everything like that? Is there anything that's like caught your eye?
Yeah, I've seen it go through a few waves, you know. I mean, I left school, like I'm 34 now, right? So when I left school was 2006, and to see an international act in Sydney was like, fuck, sick. That's like so and so's playing from like they're from London, and then like. And then it just became like super commonplace by like, by 2012, there was just like the scene was in this real kind of bubbling place, there was like Astral People and all of these guys putting on great gigs. The Good God, there was a great club called Good God. And then it all kind of took a dive down really with the lockout laws, which kind of killed the scene. But
very true.
I think it's actually in a really exciting place at the moment, because it's like for the first time in a very long time, everything's possible again. And even though like we don't have as many venues that are like, like pumping out, great gigs like every weekend, and there's still a lot of problems in the Sydney scene, there's a feeling that everything's possible for the first time in a really long time. So that's kind of exciting. I feel like it's on the upswing at the moment.
Yeah. No, I agree completely. Like there's just some amazing artists coming through as well. And like on the SYDSELEC card that we're kind of here to semi-promote, and to talk to yourself. There's a lot of like amazing artists coming through, I think, from Sydney scene and from other areas of Australia, that I think putting everyone together on this same night is just such a big opportunity for people to come out and really get a good handful of Australian music and get a wide variety, honestly, too.
I think like, I don't know what I don't know, maybe you have an idea about it, but I don't know where the turning point was where like all of a sudden people were like excited just by Australian music, and all of a sudden it was like, whoa, they're from Australia, like that's became cool. It became like, because it never used to be. It used to be like the culture.
Yeah, I know. It was like the culture was like, oh no, they're Australian, kind of like at least with a lot of like music fans that had like, I guess, like the higher taste of things. Like Australian music was always kind of beneath them and kind of thing, and it was always the international acts that got like the main play, but you could only hear like a few on Triple J and stuff. I don't know. It's interesting how it has moved. I think having more and more bigger acts headed overseas from Australia probably has helped a little bit, but I honestly think just the scene itself has just grown, where there's just so many different types of music that I think it's hard for someone not to find something they like within Australia.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe it's like there always used to be like a bit of a cultural gap as well. Like we had like the 50s kind of happened in the 60s in Australia, the 60s kind of happened in the 70s, the 70s happened in the 80s, and so on.
Always trying to catch up.
Yeah, well, because like, culture took time, like, I mean, you had to like fly a record around the world in order to play it on on a radio, or something like that. So, but I guess I think that things are just instant now. Maybe it's like partially Instagram. You know what I mean? That's just able to like, I mean, because like
Instagram and SoundCloud,
like
things like that, so easy to like get a hold of. TikTok now.
But it's not just the music, it's like the entire like cultural package, you know what I mean? It's like, that's why maybe Instagram's part of it, because it's the entire sort of like, the look, the feeling, the video, and it's like you're almost there sort of thing. Like it just sort of transmits more instantly than like I don't know, like Facebook, for instance, which is like just you and your friends, you know, 10 years ago, whatever it was that we were doing 10 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. No, there's definitely more of a connection to a lot of different people now that you can expand. Like just from this, like this all came from Instagram for me, like basically talking to you guys, and I've got other interviews as well lined up this week. Like it's just incredible how the world works now. It's just so quick, and we can do this online as well. Like it's quite incredible.
I mean, the sort of borders of the world don't really mean anything anymore.
Yeah. No. Well, speaking of the event in July 16th, is there anyone on the card that you're really excited to speak with, talk to, watch? Anyone in particular at all?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of keen to see everybody. You know, like I think I don't get the chance to like see enough like good music out. I mean, I could be better at like going to gigs and catching stuff, but like it's totally different. Like
I would imagine it's a lot different when you are an artist.
always, but like it's always fun. But But no, just a good experience to like to be at gigs and like see people live rather than like playing the track on Spotify or whatever. It's a totally different thing.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
that's been totally missing from my life, at least since like pandemic.
Yeah, I think a lot of people's as well.
Yeah. Because it's just like you get a totally different sense of like a person and their music. You know, you
100%.
can't hide it when you're on stage. You know what I mean?
No,
like you
not
can
at
be
all.
cool on Instagram. You can do, you know what I mean? But you can't. You got nowhere to hide.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No worries. Oh, look, I don't want to keep you for much longer. I really appreciate your time. Really looking forward to seeing you on July 16th down in Sydney. Thank you very much, Kid Fiction.
Cheers, bro. Yeah, thanks for having me.
No worries.